Okay, so I'm about to start the Java. I have read through the, let's kill the marking guidelines for now, because they're just getting in the way. So I have read through the blurb over here, telling me exactly how things work, which is what I wanted to do before I start answering questions. And now I'm going to create my project over here, and I'm just going to call it Assumption Prelim 2023. It makes no difference what I name it. No one is ever going to see that when they're marking your work. You can create a package or not. It always moans at me if I don't create a package, so I'm going to. And now that I have created a package, I can put the text file in the right place because it will actually exist. So I'm going to right-click copy over here, and then I'm going to go to Documents. Hopefully nothing embarrassing over here. I don't think so. NetBeans projects. And I am going to, so it is Assumption Prelim 2023, and this is the folder you want to put it in, over there where it says SRC. Okay, so we've put our text file in the correct place, and now we are good to go. And I've got my prelim here, so now from now on it matters what I name things. So the first thing, use the class diagram below to create a new class called Player. Ideally, your class diagram is going to match your questions exactly. If it doesn't, then that's really the marker's problem. So over here, for example, if I called this name, and over here I called it names, which would be silly because it's only one name, then if you named it name or names, I'd have to give you the mark either way. Right, so look at the class diagram, but also read the questions in conjunction with the class diagram. If you absolutely have to pick something, you know, if there's a difference, I'd say stick with the questions. So new class named Player. This should not be what people are struggling with. Rightio. Oopsie. Code to declare name, job, position, and search as fields is shown in the class diagram. I'm going to assume actually that you guys can do this. I'm going to literally just go, I'm just going to pause the video and type it in. So here we are. Only thing of any note is that date is a local date. So I'm going to want to import local date. And then presumably we've got the constructor and the constructor, declare the field num practices attended as shown in the class diagram. This field must be accessible to any subclasses, and that's where that hashtag comes in. Hashtag means protected. So protected int num practices attended. Misspelled practices. Okay, and then declare and initialize the static constants. It's kind of nice they call them static constants. Don't necessarily expect that to happen. You need to know from the underlined that it is static, and from the capitals that it's a constant. So as declared in class diagram, so public, and you can see here why we do that whole capital thing, because it's difficult to read that into separate words. So int practices per term equals 20. Oh, lost all my marks because I didn't go public static final. So final makes it a constant, static makes it static, and then similarly for commitment cutoff percentage. I feel like these variable names are just a smidgen too long, and I'm an idiot because it's not an int, it's a real, which basically means double, and that is equal to 80, I believe. I could type 80.0, but there's no need to. I now have a constructor. I'm not going to assume that everything gets parameterized, but read the question. It says that initialize the private fields. Once again, I'm going to pause while I type that. Okay, so the only thing of note here was what on earth do you do with int np? Because in n links up with name, in d links up with dob, in p links up with position, np. Only thing it could be would be this num practices attended over here. So that's what I've done, and then ss is shirt size. So not amazing, and you can see we're not actually given that info anywhere over here. So you basically just have to look at these, and these link up with whatever the most likely thing is there. Like n is going to be something starting with n. np is going to be something starting with np. Only possibility is num practices. Certainly wouldn't be a constant because those values don't change. We then have a method called getName, which returns surname, comma, initial. Players only have one first name, but the method must account for multi-word surnames. So that's a little bit interesting. So if we take a look at our name data over here, I want a surname, and my surname is effectively going to start after the first space. So I don't think that's too tricky. So I think the easiest way to do that, rather than splitting this into a scanner or whatever, I mean, you could, but I think honestly the easiest is to just index off from the space. So index of space will give you the position of the space. So I'm going to want to go +1, and then after that shouldn't be too tricky. So a little bit of interest here. Public string getName. And this, by the way, is why you don't want to, oh, for crying out loud. Sorry, I keep switching between this and ABS. This is why you want to read the question paper, because otherwise you might have just literally returned name. But as is, I want to return name.substring. And this is going to be a name.index of space, and that'll give me the first index of the space +1. So I want to start from there, and I then go to the entire end of the string. I could do this, and that'll give me the whole surname. But I also want the initials, so let's go plus, give me a space, plus name.charat. Not. Okay, so, and that's it basically. All right, next up we have, so I'm going to have a getAge category, which returns the player's age category date based on the date of birth. So A, the player has turned or will turn 14 this year, B, 15, C, 16, and D, 17, 18, or 19. So turning this 14 this year literally just means that we want to do a straight subtraction of the years. Otherwise, we're going to have to. So we don't in fact want to know they're accurate, whether their birthday is passed or not. We literally just want to know, will they be 14 at some stage? So public and getAge category returns a char. I suspect category is a capital C. Yep. And so let's do a switch. Can you do a switch based on... nah. Well, you could actually. I'll just do an if and a nested if else. I think it'll be a little bit less confusing for you. So I'll say if... now, it does say this year... this year is generally code that they want you to use local date.now or something. Let's just take a quick look at the marking guidelines. Oh, I'm nowhere near that. Let me just get there. Okay, so the marking guidelines. See if I'm correct. So in question 2, And you can see I was correct about number of practices attended. That's just straightforward. Get age category, and you can see there they want local date.now.get here. So we definitely want to do that. And I want to switch back to the question. Cool. So I'm going to call this int age category. Age group. Why not? Well, and let's do that. So int age group is equal to local date dot now dot get year minus dob dot get year. Okay, so I've now got my age group, and so if age group is equal to 14, then I'm going to return A, else if age group is equal to 15, then return B, double equals, else if age group is equal to 16, then return C, and finally else if age group is equal to 17 or age group is equal to 18 or age group is equal to 19, return D. And I'm not happy just making this an else, because what if the age was 13 or 20 or something like that? If you really wanted it as a switch, literally do it automatically for you. But I'm not going to worry about that. Doesn't say to return anything else if it's not there, so I'm going to leave it as is. Marking guidelines. Okay, so they've just done, okay, so they have, I don't know, unless it really, let me go look at the, over here, it literally doesn't say that each player is going to be 14, 15, 16, so, or whatever. Okay, it does say players who are over 16 will be 18. This though, yeah, says 17, 18, or 19, so actually don't agree with the marking guidelines here where they've just got, if it's greater than 16, return D. The one thing I will say is this is a switch. You absolutely need to do nested ifs, and you're allowed to use nested ifs in place of a switch. But if you'd just gone with non-nested ifs, then you might lose marks for optimization. Although, again, the fact that we're returning here kind of cancels that out anyway. Okay, and this is why. All right, so I'm actually going to go against what I just said. Over here, I'd have to return something else, but I haven't been told what to return if it doesn't. So reluctantly, I'm just going to make this an else here. But I do kind of disagree with that. Otherwise, you know, it would always complain because there's a path where I don't return anything. Although actually, I can think of a way around that, but whatever. We'll just go with the shoddy question, I think. Right, write code to create a method called getCommitmentRating, which returns the number of practices and input term. Okay, that formula rounded off to 2 decimal places. That is interesting. Haven't seen that in a while. So public double getCommitmentRating. It's like they've really tried to absolutely not have a straightforward getter or setter here. I wonder if those come in question 3. Okay, so this is just going to be return. No, I can't. You know what? I can do the whole 2 decimal places in one line, but that just gets confusing. So let's just say double rating is equal to Okay, and then rating is equal to rating times 100. Math.round. There is a better way to do this, but it's not. It's a little bit beyond the scope of the syllabus, and it's using print formatting. So it's just barely possible that the marking guidelines don't look like this. We'll take a look and see quickly. Marking guidelines. Yep, they are doing exactly the same as I did. Okay, write code to call the method called getKitCost, which returns the kit cost, and that depends on shirt size. Okay, so this to me really looks like it's crying out for a switch. This little snag here, adding 75, does mean I'm going to be slightly more intelligent. So public int get kit cost. So I'm going to say int cost is equal to 0, and then if position dot equals. Okay, and it says if they're a goalkeeper, so let's go take a quick look at what they do. So goalkeeper is over there with the capital G. I guess you could ignore case. Maybe I do that, but you know what? Can't help. Right. So if position dot equals ignore case goalkeeper. Way too many brackets. Then let's say cost equals 75. And now it's just a straightforward switch on cost, no, on shirt size. Case S. Shirt size is a string apparently. Interesting, given that it, oh, that's because we've got XL. Okay, so, oh my word, apologies. A while back, if you hadn't, sorry, you know what, you don't need a boring anecdote. Okay, so case S, cost plus equals 325, break, case M, cost plus equals 350, break, case L, cost plus equals 375, break, and finally case XL, cost plus equals 400. And now I'm going to return cost. Okay, let's check out the marking guidelines quickly for that one. And pretty much they've done what I've done, except over here they've just added 75 later. Makes no real difference where you do it. Okay, so 2.10 and a toString, which returns everything else. So surname, comma, initial. Don't forget that we did surname, comma, initial over here. So I'm going to want to call get name. Age category is going to be get age category. Commitment rating is my other thing. Size and my kit cost. So this is going to be an irritating toString to do. And I basically want return get name plus a comp. They didn't even tell me they wanted a space. Technically, I shouldn't put that space in, but they didn't tell me they wanted it. Oh, I forgot. I want to full look at that. So I just saved myself a mark because I had to look at the the feedback here, there's a full stop. So let me go back to get name. So I want to add in a full stop at the end. Must have missed that in the marking guidelines. And you know what? I'm going to, they didn't tell me to put a space there. I'm not going to put a space, even though it's going to look wrong. Age category. And that is going to be get age category. And you can assume you're going to, if you make a get name method, that does something weird, you can assume you're going to have to do it. Plus, and once again, they did not tell me to, they did tell me to put no, they didn't tell me to put a space in, so I'm not, they did. Sorry, there's a space between rating. I'm being really pedantic here, but you do need to be a little bit pedantic. And then commitment rating. Great. I called it get commitment rating. That's cool. And then I want a tab. So not a new line. Doesn't say anything about a new line. So tab size plus, I think this is shirt size. And then finally, I want an at space at R, and there's no space there. Plus get kit cost. Sure, quite a nasty-ish question too, actually, honestly. I feel like that should be a little bit simpler. Every single method had a little trick to it, but anyway. Right, question 13 is now going to be an inherited class. I can see that it tells me over there. So create a new class name called ProvPlayer that inherits from the player class. So new Java class, ProvPlayer, and I misnamed it, so let's go to refactor, rename. There we go. And the first thing I see over here is, inherits. That means I want to say extends player. Right, declare numProv practices. So that's private int numProv practices. What is, okay, I'm going to do, I was about to say, you know what, I really should be testing question 2. It's not going to let me do that. Okay, it's going to complain about this error here until I do that. So I'm actually, let me just do the constructor and then it'll stop complaining. So write code to create a parameterized constructor to use those parameters to initialize the superclasses fields and in PP to initialize numProv practices fields. So public ProvPlayer and a lot of constructors. Once again, date is local date. String. I'll probably just typed string somewhere here, I don't care. And then I think it's int num in pp. Why you are happy to have a field named inp and in pp is just beyond me. That just looks like you're asking for confusion. And local date I'm going to want to import. There we go. Still going to complain because it's going to say that I need to do something with the super constructor. So super, and all I do is I go to what do I want in my constructor for the super class. I want the name, the date, and those things. they're not guaranteed to have the exact same variable names. In this case, they do. They really should have the same order though, so it's not like they shouldn't be deliberately trying to trick you there. Whoopsie, it's being dumb. A semicolon, and now I can go num prof practices equals NPP. There we go. Right. And by the time we've done this, 33 plus 13, we'll be on 46 marks, almost 50% of the question paper, just on stuff that's not too tricky. Get commitment rating is going to be overridden, so and that is not too hard. So public int double get commitment rating. And it should immediately start saying, hey, do you really, whoopsie. This is taken to the other thing. It should immediately, if I click on that, so add the override to say, yes, I do really want to override it. And I don't know what clicking there did. Oh, okay, that's just a way, okay, that's a nice way for me to go to the one that previously I wrote. So return, let's round off again. Actually, double rating equals num prof practices divided by okay, and then as before. Okay, and then finally return rating. So no need to call the superclass here, because even the getting information from it would be useless, because the maths is completely different. So just redo everything from scratch. And no toString. Oh, there we go. They do have a toString. And this should always be exactly the same thing, plus a little bit extra. And you can see literally all we do is we add provincial player. So public string toString. And I effectively want to return the base class, sorry, the parent class's toString plus, is it a capital P? It is. Okay, and that's question 3 done. At this point, I've gone so long without testing. I feel like I should do it to model good behavior, but you know what? You guys should really be testing your code beforehand. I am just going to keep going because I do want to finish this quickly. So this is going to be player manager. Ironically, I feel like this one's going to be a lot more sort of brain dead than the previous classes. Okay, so PR, store 100 player objects. Enter counter called size to keep track of how many players. So I've got private int, sorry, no, it's a player PR. Remember, this must be called with the base class, because you can always put the subclass into the base class. Right, but not the other way around. And size, int size is equal to 0. Constructor is going to read in. I'm just going to check, see if there's anything weird here. Read each line, extract stuff, convert the player's birth date to a date type. Nice that they told us. If the line contains a value for the number of initial practices, instantiate a ProvPlayer object, otherwise a player array object, and we've done this like a billion times. I am actually going to go through it very quickly. Only thing I can say is just remember over here, was it called players.txt, player details.txt. First thing to check if it can't find the file is did you name it correctly? I'm going to want to import scanner, import file, and then immediately I can just surround statement with try catch. And once again, for whatever reason, they want you to replace it with something like this, file not found. Okay, right, and then while scfile.has next line, scanner scline equals new scanner scfile.next line. Really nothing fancy here. scline dot use delimiter. Let's just take a quick look back at that. So my text file's delimiter is over here, and you can see it's a comma. I don't see any doubles in there, but let's just pretend there were some doubles. So use delimiter of comma, and I'm also going to set the locale little shortcut. For crying out loud. Not when you take so. Use locale. If you double click it, it automatically fills in everything for you, including the import. And you can just go locale.us. You can see it automatically imported java.util.locale for me. Right, now I'm ready to go. So string. So if I take a look over here, I have got in each of these things, I've got a name. Okay, then local date dob is equal to. I can't remember whether that's the right format or not, well, dob, yeah, it's local date dot. Okay, let's just import local date, so it'll give me the dots. So local date dot not of dot parse, and I want to parse scline dot next. So I'm going to read it as a string. Parsing is what's going to turn it into that for me. But before I do that, let's add in a dates time formatter. You know, I can never remember how you do this. This is probably wrong, but in any case, I want day / month, lowercase m is minutes. Y. That's definitely going to be a string. I feel like it's another weird .of or something. Yeah, okay, so it's dates time formatter, so no longer new. And I want date time. Okay, let's import date time formatter. Oh, don't do that. I was just about to click create class. And I don't want a date time formatter, actually. I just want a date. No, I do. Alrighty, just give me 1 millisecond to fix that. Okay, so I'm not going to be able to use dots to find the method until I've imported the thing. So I'm going to get rid of that. Now it's going to let me import it. I mean, obviously, if I'd remembered the import, it would have been fine. I'm not using those other ones, imports. There we go. And now I can say equals date time formatter dot, and you can see over here of pattern. That's what we want, and it was day / month / wow, 4 years. Okay, Right. Oh, and this means I can now use my date time formatter. Great. So that should work quite nicely. Not where I wanted to go. Great. So we were, sorry, on question 4. Oh, okay. So I've now read in the name, the date of birth. That's why I was up here. So it's name, date of birth, then position. Another straightforward string, and then shirt size and non-provincial, practices attended. So int prac at equals scline dot next int. After the prac int is shirt size, so string shirt s equals scline dot next. And then num.prov practices. It may or may not happen. So now I'll go into if scline dot has next. And then what I want to do is I want to say int num.prov equals scline dot next int. Let's just double check. There we go. It is a straightforward integer after there. And now let's create the right stuff. So inside here, if I get in here, it's I want a provincial player. So I'm going to say pr equals new ProvPlayer, and I'm going to send it the name, then it's the dob, then it's the position, then it's practices attended, shirt size, and then num.prov. And oh, PR size. There we go. Else, if it's not here, it's not a provincial player. So PR size is equal to new player. And this is the exact same parameters except for the last one. So simple copy and paste should work. And then finally, I do want to increment size, which I can do outside of the if, because it increments whether or not I do that. Right, toString method to return everything on a new line. Wow, can't spell anymore. It's not a string. String ret is blank for, and I want to go from I to size, or not including size, and ret equals ret plus pri dot toString plus my new line character, and then finally return ret. So nothing tricky here at all, really, just routine bog standard. And we've got another 19 marks. We were on 46 plus 19. So that's what, 65% of the paper, just routine, dead standard. Code a method called list provincial players to return the heading provincial players and all the provincial players' names. So this is a thing to test our, I've forgotten the name. It's what type of class it is. What type of object it is. Hopefully I'll get there by the time I need to. List provincial players. I can literally see it like what it looks like. I just can't read it in my mind. Once again, a straightforward ret is equal to nothing. A straightforward for loop going up to not including size. And now it's if instance of, that's it. So if PR I instance of ProvPlayer not liking instance of, so it's not that clearly. Okay. Oh wait, instance of is a lowercase for whatever reason. Don't ask me why. Okay, and if it is, then ret equals ret plus pri.toString plus a new line, and then finally return ret. It's effectively the toString, just with a simple if inside it. And what is this complaining about? Oh, you should not be double equals. Great. And that, I think, is question 4 done. And then add in another 5. So what 46 plus 5 is 51 plus those 25. 66% of the paper done. Right, Player Manager UI. You should really not be leaving your testing to this point. Main method, and I can say Player Manager PM. Okay, it does say create new Player Manager object called PM equals new Player Manager, or 1 free mark. Call the appropriate method to display all the players and provincial players details. That is literally just the toString. No need to type the toString, but I'm just making it explicit. And then finally, list of provincial players. Alrighty. So, dead easy. Okay, now we're going to have to think a little bit, but nice thing is we only have to think for 24 marks. So, in the Player Manager class, code a method called delete players to remove any players from the array whose commitment rating is less than the commitment cutoff percentage. Do not remove any provincial players. Return a string with the heading players removed and list of deleted players. You may code additional methods in a solution to assist with moving a player, and that is essentially we just want our shift left. So let's do that. And again, this is not really thinking as such. Void shift left. And all I want to do, if I recall correctly, is I basically do a for loop going through the entire array. I am shifting left. So let me just grab Excel quickly. Okay, and if I want to shift left, so this is positions. So let's just arbitrarily say I want to shift left at 2. Then I want to start at 2, and I want everything to become the one after it. So I want 2 to become gets the position 3. This gets that, and then I want that to become nothing. So basically what I did is I said PRI is equal to PRI plus 1. And I did that starting at pos and going through to the end. So I want to start at pos, and I want I to go to less than size minus 1. And that's just because it won't crash because we never get up to 100, but because I'm doing this, I'm saying PRI is equal to PRI plus 1. If I went up to size, then this would crash over here. And I can say, so that's going to do the shift lefting for me, and then I can say PR size minus 1 is equal to nothing. You know what? Don't stress too much about that. That's just getting rid of the blank thing. Probably not even in the marking guidelines. I'll take a check. And then size minus minus. Quick check of the marking guidelines. For 4.5. Delete players. Oh, here we go. This is their shift left. Yeah, you can see they didn't even worry about getting rid of the leftover thing. So I wouldn't stress about that. And then it needs to be called delete players. And that looks like a void. Also looks like it doesn't take any parameters in. So I want to go from I to size, and I basically want to say if not so it's told me not to delete any provincial players. So if it's so I immediately want to not it. It's going to complain about that, so I'm going to go put the not outside, another set of brackets. There we go. I can't say if PRI instance of player because that returns players and provincial players. It returns the parent and child. So you can only ever differentiate based on the child, because all children, so all provincial players are players as well, but not all players are provincial players. Think of the whole square and rectangle thing. Okay, so if they're not a provincial player, then if PRI dot get commitment rating is less than, it does say less than, not less than or equal to, and this is player dot commitment cutoff percentage. I'm going to want a string. So it's returning a string, so it's not void. Okay, it does say return a string with heading players removed. Let's throw a new line in. Okay, so the first thing I want to do is before I get rid of the player, I need to add them to ret. Let's get name. Let's add a new line. And now I can say shift left I. Okay, and really that should be it. You may code it, yeah, I've done that already, and then it's basically now return ret, and let's test this out. Oh, I didn't even run the thing. Should have run it. Who knows how many mistakes I've made? None apparently. Well, that is quite impressive. So provincial players is, oh, look at that. Provincial player is just supposed to give a list of the names. So I made a little mistake there. So this should actually be returning PRI dot get name. Okay, that's why it's handy to run this and see what's going on. Run the file and let's just check it. Starting with Hayward N, ending with Rodrigue C, looking good to me. All right, now let's try call delete players. So once again, it's a println of pm dot delete players. Players removed. I have removed a lot of them. That's looking like way too many. So if the commitment rating is less than that, maybe my commitment rating is a little bit off. Let's just do a quick little println over here of commitment rating. Of course, you can't run that. Should be able to actually just run. Okay, so everyone's commitment rating is coming in as a 1, which means I screwed up the commitment rating somehow. Num practice attended divided by num, idiot, times 100. And that is why I really should have started testing at the beginning. Okay, so I'm still getting 1. Num practices per term is 20. Let's just have a look at some of the data. So this first person attended 16. 16 divided by 20. That's 80%. Yep, 80%. So why am I getting 1? Oh, wow. These are both integers, so I need to int one of them. I mean double one of them. Cast it. Okay, so let's try that. And that's still not going nicely, so this is why you need to test what's going on. So double rating equals number of practice attended divided by practice per term times 100. So this really should be giving me something over here. Let's just try printing out the rating after that calculation. Edit, just click run. Okay, so so I am getting a, so it's okay. So when I call get commitment rating, it's printing out an 80, and then it's printing out the actual rating. Am I calling the wrong kinds of players? I worry that I'm calling provincial players. I'm not though, because like Flossie Sush or Sachi, or however you pronounce it. Okay, so if PRI instance, so if it's not an instance of ProvPlayer, and then okay, it's might as well fix this one as well. Might as well print out provincial. Okay, I have too many print-ins here, so I'm going to get rid of this print-in here briefly. Okay, so why is it not printing out? Oh, because I got rid of that. Okay, so I'm getting 80, 60, 80, 80, 100. So I should not be going in for all of these players. So like sous chef is 80 already. So the only question then is, yeah, what's happening after we round it? Maybe my rounding's messing up. Okay, my rounding is messing up. So times 100. Oh, you idiot. Oh, wow, what a dumb thing to do. Okay, there we go. Okay, well, you know what? I'm definitely going to leave these mistakes in. It's a nice example of how to fix them, I guess. Here I didn't screw up the rating thing, so we're good there. Alrighty, so that was my actual code for deleting was good. Let's just check again. It's Brouwer, Houghton, Snurling. Brouwer, Houghton, Snurling. That's beautiful. Okay, so my actual code for the deleting everything was great. I was just going to lose a mark or two for calculating the ratings. I should have been looking at the ratings over here. Anyway, then get code a method called get category kit cost to determine the total kit cost for each age category. Use the loop to process the age categories A, B, C, and D, and then something with the kit categories. Doesn't actually seem too bad. So if we go again, we've got kit cost. And then we've also got an age category. So I'm going to want to loop through. Okay, I could either loop through this like 4 different times, or I can have 4 variables to just sort of store my categories for that. So I think I'll do that. So let's go to Player Manager. So get category kit cost. Okay, so let's have an int A cost, B cost. You know what, we're going to be adding to it, so let's explicitly set them to 0. Alrighty. Simple for loop to go through everything, so I'm going to go through the whole array with size, and then basically it's just if pri dot get age category is equal to a, then a cost plus equals pri dot get kit cost. I really feel like, you know what, I feel like I could do this better. I could have an array of costs, but maybe that'll be a little bit harder for you to understand. So, and the reason I do that is because I can see over here I'm literally just going to be repeating everything, which means I could probably copy and paste this. B cost. Okay, so let's do a little copy and paste. So I want C, D, and this over here is unfortunately not going to give me the right output because I'm in the wrong year. So what I'm going to do over here, let's just go to this over here, and let's say int age group is equal to 2023 minus .get year. It's just going to be easier for me to see, like, compare my work to what they did. Only one single equals. Alrighty. This needs to be C cost and D cost. And now I need a string. So return kit cost per category. New line. Age category A total plus A cost. New line. Age category B total plus B cost plus new line age category C total plus, keep putting my pluses inside my quotes. Alrighty, and string can be converted to int. Okay, somewhere here it's complaining because I am, okay, so I've got a string plus a cost. I'm just trying to see if I lost anything. Okay, this is just going to be a silly thing because I can't be with, I just put in the return. I'm just going to pause this quickly so you don't see me staring at the screen for ages. Okay, real idiot, looking in the wrong place for it is. So over here, I don't want to return an int, I want to return a string. That only took me a few more seconds afterwards. What I did is I actually deleted this. And I knew that should have worked, but I was still getting the error. So I was like, hang on. And then I was like, okay, nothing wrong here. Looked up there, and then I saw a string. Alrighty, let's try do that. PM dot get category kit cost. Hopefully this runs, because it's really late. 1850 1125 2975 3925. And I think if I recall correctly, there we go. Nope, there wasn't meant to be an R there. The R was in that. And there we go. That is the OOP done.